I'm not sure I've prepared enough for this one. I wrote down a load of stuff, but I haven't really looked through it, and I think it's going to be in the wrong order. But anyway, hello, welcome to another Patreon update. I suppose we should talk about the elephant in the room. His name's Albert, he's over there. No, it's the beard, yeah, I know, COVID beard, all the rest of it. I'll tell you what it was. I realised that I didn't like the look of my chin. I've kind of, over the years, I've got two chins, and I thought, well, let's hide it behind a beard. And also I thought I'd kind of lean into the old man thing. You know, after the last time I mentioned that, people were saying, oh, he's aged 25 years in 10. I thought, well, let's go for another 20. I don't know, I just kind of like the idea of looking like a mad hermit that doesn't care. So I think I pulled that one off. But, anyway, right, so let me explain what's going on here. First off, have I got your... Yes, right. I'm trying this ATEM Mini thing again with my monitor and the switchable cameras. So this again will be in 1080p 60, even though the video going into it is in 4K 30. It's very likely there's going to be a lip sync problem. But this time I'm not going to try and edit it, because last time people say, oh, you made it worse. All right, here's how it looks with nobody touching it. It's probably well off. So you might be better off listening to this one as an audio one. There isn't too much visual stuff, although I do have a bit of behind the scenes stuff I want to show you. So that part's in here. So yeah, maybe you don't want to watch it as an audio. Anyway, so the three cameras I've got on here today, number 2, number 1, and the monitor. I actually pointed at the monitor while the monitor was on the screen. This is the thing. I'm getting to a kind of, I would say, you're familiar with the uncanny valley idea, you know, with the kind of things that when they get closer to looking like reality, they look a little bit worse than they did when they were further away, a little bit odder. That's the perfect explanation of that, Matt. Yeah, you probably should do philosophy or something. But I think I've reached the uncanny valley of video in a way with this, because I'm kind of getting closer to what you could do on in a TV studio, but the closer I get, the worse it looks. I'm actually better off if I just stick to the one camera. And I think I'll probably go back to that. But I just wanted to try this once more. I spent a bit of money on all this stuff, and I thought, let's see if we can get it so it looks right. Now, the lip sync issue last time, the audio that you're hearing is coming in from this camera. I thought I'd try and put the audio into the monitor, into the ATEM Mini or something. It won't work from this lavalier. It's a TRRS connector, and I think it uses TRS. However, I got a TRRS to TRS 3.5mm mini jack converter. Didn't want to know. I plugged other things into it, like a proper old microphone, and it heard that, but only on one channel. It's all a bit odd. So to get normal audio out of this, I plug it into there, into the camera that you're listening to, watching through, and then the wire goes down here into this thing. So I think that's where the audio issue might be coming in. So I could perhaps, if I do this again, I could perhaps do with trying another lavalier. Well, I bought a couple, and none of them work. So how much money am I going to keep throwing at a problem before I kind of give up on it? Anyway, right. So as you can imagine, this is going to go on a while, as they usually do. I'll probably edit quite a few bits out. I'm also recording in this ProRes thing, which just eats up memory like nobody's business. So I might stop it every now and then. But yeah, anyway, let's get on with this. Okay, first thing, so I reached that million thing, subscriber malarkey. You can see behind me. If I duck out of the way, it might focus on it. There we go, 1.01 million. So that's where we are at the moment. That's what it's doing now. It's doing 0.01. So what's that like? Is that 1,000? I should know from my own dashboard. Hold on. Let me just have a look here. It might tell me exactly how many subscribers I've got at the moment. 1,014,561. Yeah. So basically it does every 10,000 that I get another little digit on there now. So I used to get like an extra, it used to go up in thousands. Now it goes up in 10,000s. So it's going to be harder for that thing to move. But anyway, it's moved a little bit onto 0.01. But I wanted to just mention, people got quite excited about the million thing. People always show the plaque, don't they? That's like a thing. Oh, are you going to make a video unboxing your plaque? Well, they're all the same, aren't they? I don't know why you'd want to see... Well, they're all the same apart from the the writing you put on it. So I've got this here. I'll explain how these work. On your YouTube channel, once you've reached 1 million, and it's kind of a couple of days after it, I've covered my monitor over with my paper, so I can't see if I'm even on it. Yeah, oops, hold on. Let's get the light off it. See, that's why you need a monitor, so you can do things like that. If otherwise, I'll just be holding it like that, and you won't be able to see it. So that's why a monitor's useful. Yeah. So after I've reached 1 million, it appears at the top of the screen like a banner when you go onto your YouTube channel. It says, "Click here to redeem your voucher" or something, and it basically gives you a voucher code that you then put onto a website. A Google website, and it says what do you want in the title thing, and you leave it as Techmoan, but you could change it to anything else if you wanted to, and then say a week or 10 days later or something, that thing turns up in the post. Yeah, so that's that. I said last time I was going to use it as I thought I'd use it as a tea tray because I've got no walls to hang it on. Sorry about the creaky chair. This is I need to do something about that because it's starting to come through on videos as well. But yeah, I was going to use it as a tea tray, but I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see. This bit's recessed, this mirror. It's already got dust on it. I've got one of the dustiest houses in the world. Well, I probably haven't. I mean, there's probably somebody somewhere in the middle of, like, a desert that could beat me on this one. Or a very arid place. But I don't know. It's such a dusty house. It's ridiculous. I've probably mentioned this to you before because I just go around in circles with things. But in videos, people say, "Oh, you got dust on that." Yeah, if you get a macro lens and shoot anything very close, you'll see dust on it. At least you will in my house. Even if I've dusted it, like, 30 seconds before I get the camera on it, there'll be dust on it again. It's just one of those houses. I don't know. All the rooms are the same. Some rooms have different floorings to others, and I asked the chap next door. He's got all like wood floorings all over his house. I said, "Do you get a house full of dust?" He goes, "Yeah, I do." He says it's ridiculous. I said, "I can literally write my name on a surface if I leave it for a week." And he says, "Yeah, same in my house as well." So we're just in a kind of weird dusty area. Now I've got all like filters and things around the house, but yeah, it just moves stuff around. So yeah, so if you see dust in the videos, look, I do try and dust it off. In fact, behind me, just to prove the point, I probably shouted down the microphone then, that was annoying. I've even got a flipping Swiffer. Now that wouldn't be in here if I wasn't dusting everything every time I shoot it, but as soon as I do that, yep, dust again 10 seconds later. Anyway, going way off topic here, because none of these things are on this piece of paper. I might as well have just another blank piece of paper. Right. So yeah, oh no, I did start on the 1 million thing. So we wondered if anything would happen when we got to 1 million other than getting the plaque thing, which I have to kind of apply for. Oh, you can order additional ones of those as well if you want. So if you ever see one of these YouTube channels, so destroying my 1 million subscriber plaque, they've just ordered another one, paid, I don't know, 50 quid or whatever it would cost. I didn't even look, but yeah. Say this is for if you had, say, a channel and there were like 2 people on it, perhaps, you know, Matt and Dave's amazing YouTube channel, and they get one plaque. Well, maybe Matt and Dave both want one in their individual houses, you know. So the next thing is, I was talking about the 1 million. Did anything happen? Well, initially I thought, oh, this looks a bit better, because we were talking about maybe the adverts would improve. So, and you see, I got a McDonald's advert and I got a 7-Up advert on one of the videos. I thought, this is good. We're in the big leagues now. We're in the food and drink business. And then we went back to earwax again very shortly. So I just think that was a bit of a blip, a fluke. I don't think it was connected with the 1 million thing, but we hoped that it might be, and it seems like I'm still in the earwax and basically fraudsters. A lot of that eToro thing, people try to sell you, oh, that might be on other people's videos. You see, I'll just leave it on to see what videos are being served. People say that I should, I don't get adverts, I have YouTube Premium Prime, whatever it's called, a Plus, Red, thingamajig. No, I want the adverts, I want to see what's on there. After all, I've got a channel on here that I want to know what's going out on the channel. Now, of course, different people, different countries see different adverts, but just for me to get an idea as to the kind of dross that they're putting on there, I want the adverts to remain so I can see how bad it gets. Talking of which, you know the video I did about unboxing that big load of broken or semi-broken mini discs from Japan? It was like an hour and something long, just over an hour and 10, I think. Hold on, let me have a look down here. I'll bring you in on this. Where is it? Oh, there we are. See that one there? 73 minutes of junk. That one. Right, so that video is 73 minutes long. Right. And, wrong camera. have to remember camera 2 is the one that I want. The reason I put camera 1 as that one is because I want to bring my face in when I'm looking at some of this stuff later on as a picture-in-picture, and it's camera 1 that does that. Now, again, it's probably in the settings, I believe it is, that you can change which one you want as a picture-in-picture, but I'm old school, just plug the wires in the right sockets. But yeah, that video, 73 minutes long, for some reason, I just went on the main page that you get as a YouTube person. You get like a comments feed. And I saw somebody say, had to stop watching because of all the adverts. I thought, well, do you mean all the adverts? It's a 73-minute video. There's an advert at the beginning, one at the end, probably one in the middle. Had a look at it, and YouTube had automatically applied an advert, I think every 5 minutes. It had like 20 adverts in, that might not add up. But anyway, you know, I looked at it all the way along the timeline, because you can see, I thought, what the heck are you doing, idiots? Who's going to watch that video? I mean, it's worse than network television, which over here isn't all that bad. I mean, sometimes it gets on your nerves a bit, but when I watched it in the US, so yeah, the US has that weird little advert just before the end of a program. I don't know if they still do. I haven't been there for years, but yeah, that one where the program's finished, and then there's an advert, and then the guy goes, right, thanks for watching, and then it finishes again, and you get another advert. It's just, we don't get that over here, fortunately. Of course, everyone fast forwards adverts on the PVR anyway. But on YouTube, yeah, there was about 20 adverts. So I went in and deleted them all apart from, I think I left one in the middle. I'm quite happy with one at the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end. But if you leave YouTube to do its automatic thing, it just goes balmy. It'll stick adverts in the middle of adverts, probably, if it could do. So yeah, basically the setting normally is auto. And you say, auto doesn't matter, and it like throws one advert in there, but you don't realise it kind of later on it goes back in and kind of updates itself. Crazy. Right, so I really don't know where I'm up to now. I'm sorry about this. Oh yeah, another thing that happened, well, I got to 1 million. I'm guessing it's because of that. A famous website, kind of one that everyone would know the name of, and no, it's not Engadget or Gizmodo, but another one that people know. They got in touch, and I'm not saying who they are because it's not really fair on them, but they got in touch and they said, we've got this, we're asking celebrities, to answer questions about the YouTube channels, and they give you like 20 questions, and they sent me some links to other videos they've done that are similar with other celebrity YouTubers. I've got to say, there are other people that had like 10, 40 million, I can't remember, just someone who has way higher subscriber numbers, but they must start maybe at 1 million. That's what they consider a celebrity. So they wanted to ask these questions, and initially I thought, I can't be bothered with all this, I don't like all that kind of stuff. And then after a while, I think late one night after a couple of drinks, I thought, well, you know, I should do stuff like this because it's kind of expected, and if I don't, I'm perhaps doing myself a disservice, and maybe the publicity would help. After all, view counts at the moment aren't great at all, and you know. So I thought, well, all right then. So I replied to the person. I'd left it a few days in my inbox. I replied to them, said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Sounds okay. And then they replied back, oh, that's great. We want a pre-video interview to talk about it. If you can do like an online, you know, like a Skype thing or something. Well, that's when I said no, because I don't know, it's weird, isn't it? But the initial idea was that somebody had sent me a page full of questions, and I'd do a video just like I'm doing here with the questions and going, so you're asking what was my first video? Well, from what I remember, it was this, that, and the other, that kind of thing. Well, when they said they were pre-interview type thing, I thought, oh, no, it's starting to get like a job, this. You see, the thing is, I dropped out of working because I'm rubbish at interacting with other people. I don't like it. I find it very uncomfortable. I'm extremely socially introverted. I don't like being in these situations. It's like job interviews and stuff, isn't it? You don't do it voluntarily, do you? You do it because you want a job. Well, what was at the end of this? There'd be a video on their channel that probably no one would watch, or no one would even notice because there's a million other things there, and no one would end up coming back to my channel as a result. So I was thinking, well, I'll be doing all this work again. What's at the end of it? And I've got to say, something about these things. You know, quite often I think, what's at the end of it? And it's not about money. And it's not necessarily about views and things on the channel. It's about how I feel at the end of it. Will I feel like I've achieved something? Will I feel like, oh, that was good, I'm glad I did that? And with most of these things, I wouldn't feel like that. Now, I think one of my problems is I don't have an ego. Well, of course, everyone has an ego. I looked it up, and it's like you do have an ego, but egotistical type of an ego. You know, when you think you're great, that kind of thing. And I just don't have any of that at all. Never have had. Therefore, I've always been terrible at kind of self-promoting, you know, in jobs and stuff, and say, oh, I'm the best at this, and interviews you come along and say, yeah, I'm the candidate you need because I'm the number one, and all that stuff really grates on me, mate. It's not me. It's like the antithesis. It's the opposite of everything that I am is that. So I can't do any of that stuff. So as soon as anything starts coming into that territory, into that realm of kind of, tell us how great you are and how brilliant you are at this, that and the other, I'm like, no, you're all right, I'll just leave it. It's not me. Terrible kind of a attitude to have. I know if I'm trying to be a YouTube superstar, but I'm not. But I think that's what people think you're trying to do. A lot of YouTube people I see, it appears they don't really want to be on YouTube. They kind of seen it almost as a stepping stone to other things. They'll do YouTube and they want to make millions of pounds or dollars or whatever on YouTube, get millions of followers. And if they were in the kind of position that I'm in, where it's not in the like buy a mansion somewhere and have it raided by the FBI, but it's in the kind of like you could get by type of thing, that wouldn't be good enough for them. They wouldn't be interested in that. And then they'd be starting to think, well, maybe I could get on TV, and they start trying to get into that realm. Or I could do public appearances. I could sign things at shows. I could all that kind of stuff. And it's almost like they wanted YouTube to either make them a megastar, or if it wasn't working, they'd then try and do something else on the back of YouTube. Now, here's me, Mr. No Ego. I'm quite happy with the YouTube thing, which is kind of ticking over. I'm happy with ticking over. Maybe it's my age, which is why I kind of grew this. I just wanted to show that I just don't care anymore. I've got to that stage where I don't care anymore. And I think everyone that's getting in touch with me are people that really care. You know, like 20-year-old people who are working for some media company. And, hey, we've got this great idea for you. You're like, no, I can't be bothered, mate. I'm getting on. I don't. There's a great thing about when you get old, where you just don't care anymore. You don't care. It's not about caring about upsetting people, but you don't care about how to impress people. You just kind of go, yeah, I think what you think. You think that, I'll do this, you know. And then the trouble is that person then will get up to like 50 or whatever, and they'll feel the same. There's this kind of younger kind of thing where everyone's like really excited. Oh, I want to impress people. I want to be the best. I want to be a billionaire. I want to do this. And then you get to like 50, you realise that's never going to happen. And you kind of just settle down and you're happy with what you've got to a degree. If you've got something that you've kind of, that you're happy with. Terrible sentence. Okay, now, I'm going to pause it here because this file will be getting ridiculous. I want to drink my coffee. And I will carry on, and I'll have a bit of a read ahead, and we'll try and get through this a little bit quicker because I know everyone says, "Oh no, take as long as you want," but honestly, there's a limit to that, isn't there? Anyway, let me press stop. I want to talk about the airplane background music system, which actually turned out to be an announcement system thingamajig. First off, I want to show you a little behind the scenes on that I shot just for Patreon. Little bits I'd already shot and a few other bits besides, just to talk about the less than special effects that I employed in that video. So I'll edit it in. Here it comes now. The problem that I faced with this one was that it was a video based around audio. By that I mean it's the same problem that people have that make these true crime documentaries. They might have an interview tape or a confession tape, but they've got nothing to show to accompany that, no video evidence. So what they have to do is make something up. So they just show close-ups of tape recorders or reel-to-reel machines, just anything to keep the eye occupied, because you can't just have a blank screen with audio being played. It's a video format, so you need something for people to see. So that's exactly the same problem I had with this. This is what it would look like while it was playing. This is also what it would look like while it wasn't playing. There's literally nothing to see other than this black box. And that is not something I can keep on screen for 5 minutes while I'm playing back audio. So to get some B-roll of aeroplanes, I signed up to a service called Storyblocks, which is where people share videos that you can then use in your own projects for a monthly subscription fee. So I downloaded a few videos of aeroplanes. There weren't too many there, and there weren't any of British Airways 757s, but I picked some that seemed kind of generic that I'll be able to use. And then to create more time for the audio, I got the puppet out and had him sit on an aeroplane and listen to the announcements as they played. But still, that wears thin very quickly. That wouldn't do for the whole video. So my idea was to get a model plane and then fly that in front of scenery that was on a TV screen. I ordered the plane. I didn't realise that it would be this small. I mean, look at that. I mean, I don't know much about aeroplanes, so when I saw 1 in 500, I thought, yeah, that'll still be pretty big. Yeah, not as big as I thought. Although I was looking for various different British Airways 757s, and there were very few. They kind of went, after this, they went into some really expensive things. This was, I don't know, £15 or something. So my intentions with this plane, once I get it out of here, is right. So there we go. We've got a little plane. Well, I'm glad to see it's got some weight to it. It's kind of like a die-cast thing. It's got the wheels down, which could be awkward in some of the scenes. I suppose I could shoot it from above so you can't see that. So yeah, the idea with this is, after that, I've got some sellotape, which is super clear tape, and the intention is I'm going to use that to attach the plane to this invisible thread. I've had an idea. I think it might be better if I put the wires on the bottom and film it upside down. If you're looking for the wires, you won't see them, will you? And also I can put them around the undercarriage here, so this might make it more difficult to shoot. I don't know. We'll find out. So I've got the plane now attached to this pencil, so I can lift this up and hold that in front of the screen. I'm not going to do it by hand. I'm going to tape it to something, and then I have to wait a while for this to stop moving around, so it doesn't look quite as much as like a model. But yeah, it might work. We'll find out. So here's the setup I came up with. We've got the pencil taped up there. We've got the 2 threads down in front of the monitor screen here. I was originally planning on doing this in front of the television because I thought the model was bigger, but this screen's plenty big enough for a model of this size. So you can see it's all upside down at the moment on the camera screen, but that's what the camera's looking at. And if we flip this camera over, you'll be able to see pretty much what the end footage looked like. So it didn't look too bad, really, I thought. I was running a loop of video that went round. I had 2 loops. I had one that was a view of going through clouds and over water and things, and then one that was a side-on view. The side-on one didn't work quite as well on the video, so I hardly used any of that stuff. It was just really too fake. Also, I'd had to break off the undercarriage on the back because I wanted to do shots like this where it looked like the undercarriage wasn't down, but the front one was still down because I was hanging the wire off that. So it was all a bit mixed up. But yeah, overall, I'm not too unimpressed with the results here. Yes, it's not Thunderbirds. I can appreciate that. But, you know, just for something that was supposed to be a little bit silly, yeah, that's one of the side-on ones. That looks terrible, doesn't it? But I used it anyway because I thought it was funny. But yeah, I don't think it's too bad in the end. And this actually looks all right. It looks like I'm deliberately dipping the plane. I was actually just adjusting the wires while I had the camera recording. And this stuff, I was happy with this. I was happy with the interior. This is just sat in front of the television in the lounge. Well, actually, I'm holding him up here. But yeah, this shot, I really like that one. I thought that was very impressive. It kind of looked realistic, that. It was hard to get the lighting right because it kept reflecting off the TV screen. If I pause it there and then put the light up, you'll see that's what was actually being shot. It's an OLED television, that one, with a brown wall behind it. And of course, I cropped it in later to make sure the screen edge was out of shot. And I just had 2 backgrounds. I had one of aeroplane seats that I'd reversed because I wanted the window on the same side as on this shot here. I had to reverse one of them, so I did the other one. This was actually a video, but I didn't end up using it as a video, just as a still. So there you go. That's a bit of a behind the scenes. Hopefully, I won't get this video blocked by British Airways for using one of their tapes. If so, it's all going to be a big waste of time, but there's only one way to find out. Right, so I hope you like that. That was just a little bit of an extra thing I'd put together. I just thought it was quite amusing, the really poor special effects, but in a way, some of them look quite decent, didn't they? Despite the miniature scale of the model. In fact, I've got the plane up here. There you go. So, yeah, I had to break the undercarriage off it. I think I mentioned that. But I thought it folded to start with. I realised I was actually just bending the plastic and it fell off. but it's not something I'll be using again. But yeah, a little bit of a memento there. The plane, stick it up there, and no doubt lose it soon. Now, that video, I split it in two, as you're aware, and I know it's going to cause consternation. But the truth is, it's two videos. I spent a week almost, well, best part of a week on the first part with the special effects and the getting the audio off the tapes and all that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of behind the scenes that happens before I could even start editing on that one with the audio and all that. And then once I'd done that, I finished that video, stopped it, thought, right, well, that's that, and then started work on the next part, completely fresh, using some of the same clips, some different clips, all the taking it apart stuff. And it's a good job I did, because a lot of the stuff that I kind of figured out while I was doing part two was stuff I wouldn't have figured out if I'd done it all in one go very quickly, because I'd have just skipped past a few things. There were a few bits I noticed in the edit, like the little light sensor that shine back off the tape. I only spotted that after I'd finished the video, and I thought, oh, because I was watching the clips on the screen here, and the camera sees more than my eyes do, especially when you kind of crop in on a 20 odd megapixel image, right? So you go, oh, that's a light sensor, I didn't even notice that. So I mean, it's like the size of a full stop, you know, so I then could add that bit into it. So in the end, even with the first bit, after I watched it a couple of times, I realised there were a couple of clips that didn't quite work, bits where the audio needed to be longer for the background music and this, that and the other. So I basically rearranged the first one about 4 times. I've rearranged the second one 3 or 4 times separately. So in the end, they both had loads of edits and loads of time spent on them. But I know what's going to happen. Everyone will just be like, oh, you split it in 2 to get double the ad revenue and all that. Bearing in mind, I'm the guy who takes out the mid-roll adverts, because I think that it's a bit inappropriate having that many. So there won't be one on the first one. It's a 7-minute video. You can't have a mid-roll advert on that. So there'll be one advert at the beginning. Everyone just press skip on that, because that's the hardest thing in the world. Oh, I had to press skip. It's like I've got carpal tunnel syndrome now. And then the next one, well, that's 12 minutes long or something like that. So there might be a mid-roll on that. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but there certainly won't be loads of them. There'll just be one if there is. I probably won't even do that. I'll probably just have one at the beginning, one at the end, and no mid-roll, because we've already had an advert on the first half. So basically, you end up with the same number of adverts, 3, like you would have had if it had all been one video. And some people put like 5 in there. The reason I wanted to split it as well, it's 2 very different feelings for the parts. One is the background audio, and one's the tech. And when I did the video about the cartridges that were found at the railway station that had that British Rail announcement on them, that video had, I don't know, probably 11 minutes, I think, before the audio was played. And a lot of people just did not like that. You know, skip to minute 11 to hear the audio, and oh, boring, this takes too long. I mean, I could show you some comments, but I'll tell you why I won't do in a bit, because that upsets people. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so yeah, that was a lot of the reaction to that it was all build up and, you know, all this. So I thought, right, okay, no problem. You want to cut to the chase? This video is the chase, and it just goes straight in. Here's your announcements. Nobody needs to jump to 15 seconds in to hear the announcements. No one's going to put that, are they? Also, there's a kind of sharing thing where it's more than likely, if you have a 20-minute video where something starts happening at 10 minutes, no one's going to share that. You have a 7-minute video where it starts happening immediately, people might share that. Hey, look at this video. Not, hey, look at this video, but jump to 10 minutes in. A lot of people don't understand how to share YouTube videos with timestamps, which is like a real basic thing. You just share and you click a button to say start at this point. But the number of people that have shared as yeah, you have to jump to 15 minutes in to see such and such. There's a lot of functionality in YouTube that a lot of people just don't understand. Chapters, I put the chapters on recently, and the chapters were on that video with the British Rail announcement, and I had the chapters. It said like, you know, blah blah blah, and then there was one that said like 10 minutes audio starts here, or here's the announcements. I think announcements in capitals I put on it. So anybody could just skip to the relevant part of the video if they wanted to. But still, they were like complaining and putting timestamps in the thing. The functionality was there already. I'd spent the time to chapter it, put the chapters in the video description, probably pinned them in the top pinned comment as well, which I often do. Put them in the, on the thing so it automatically shows in the bar at the bottom. Did everything I could, and yet people say, "Oh, jump to a minute 12 for the audio." So let me try and get myself back on topic. Yeah, so it was a social experiment split in the video. We'll see how it goes. It'll generate lots of complaints, but it might also aid with sharing of the first half of the video, which might help the channel, because from what I've understood, looking at stats recently, whether a video is a success or not, as I mentioned before, isn't really down to subscribers, it's down to non-subscribers, and therefore the video needs to somehow get shared and people to watch it who aren't subscribed to the channel. I was wondering if the fact that these videos always seem to sort of top out around this 200,000 mark. I say always. I mean, there's exceptions, like the Prison Tech one. That was a big success. If everything was like that, I'd be rolling in it. It'd be great. But you take the rough with the smooth, don't you? To me, the SVP 100 video was as interesting as the Prison Tech. I know it isn't to a general public. I can tell that from looking at the views, but I thought it was of more interest than it's kind of got a level of interest back. But that's just me, everyone's different. But yeah, didn't really do what I wanted it to do, that one, which was a shame. Funny enough, I've seen people under that one saying, yeah, where do I get one of these? I want to buy one and all that. And I think that maybe I didn't get across the rarity aspect of it. It's probably the only one working in the world, because I bought it from a guy in Russia, and I think it's the guy who's done the only other video about one on YouTube. And reading up on that, he says he spent 5 years getting it working, 3 years or 5 years, taking it all apart, replacing everything, getting it all back together again. And then he made this video about it. And I think that's the one I bought. I think I bought it from him. Obviously, people's YouTube names aren't their own names and stuff. But yeah, it came from Russia, and I'm pretty sure it's the same one looking at it. So it's possibly the only one that works in the world. So there's the rarity aspect of it there. But yeah, people say, yeah, I went looking on eBay, I couldn't find one of these. It's like, yeah, I spent 10 years looking for that one. The guy wanted £3.5 for it to start with. Talked him down to 2. Because he'd had it listed a few weeks, and I think he wanted a sale. But he was obviously a collector himself, because he included all the documentation with it, all the brochures, that kind of stuff. So it wasn't just some guy who happened across it. It was a guy who kind of obviously wanted it, and he got it, and then he wanted to pass it on to someone else. That someone else was me. And I thought, I'll share it with the world, and it cost me £2 to do it. Again, I don't want to say it's too much about the money, but if every video cost me £2, I couldn't be doing this for too long. Right, okay, so I want to talk about region stats a little bit, because actually no, let me go back. The SVP 100. After I'd done that video, a guy got in touch and said, I've got some PCM tapes that you might be interested in. When those things came out, there was a company that released PCM recordings on videotape in both Betamax, and VHS, and those. So they put out these master recording things, so you could get like a Dark Side of the Moon and a few other albums like that. They're kind of the typical ones that they always throw out on SACDs and stuff. And he had 3 of these, I think, and he said he used to own one of these SVP 100s like 20, 30 years ago, whatever it was. And the thing broke, or he got rid of it, or whatever, but he still had these tapes. He says, you can have them if you want. I says, oh, that's good, thanks, yeah, I'll appreciate it. Let me know how much you want for your postage and all the rest of it, and yeah, I'd be glad to have those. And then he said, oh, I don't want money for them, I want to be able to exchange them for something. So I thought, so I said, well, what kind of thing do you want? He says, well, something that's like, they went back and forth a bit, and I suggested a couple of things that I thought I've got like new in box that were pretty decent, decent quality thing. And he's like, no, these things are expensive. He says, I don't want to swap it. So I never got to the bottom of what it was he kind of thought I had that I could swap. He said like, tube amplifiers and stuff. I said, I don't have any tube amplifier. And besides which, she was in the US, and it's all like UK voltage, anything I've got, and I don't know what kind of person he thought I was. I had like a warehouse full of brand new tech that was just sitting there ready to swap. But anyway, he said he was going to go to the post office. I wrote back and said, yeah, don't post them, mate. It's getting weird, this. You hang on to them if you think they're worth something. So he's still got them, which is fine. He's got them and I haven't. And besides which, what am I going to do? I'll play them once. I couldn't even play them in a video. I couldn't even demonstrate them. That's the main thing. I could say, hey, look at this. This is Dark Side of the Moon off a PCM VHS. Can't play any of it. So then you just look at a videotape. You could look at a picture of one, couldn't you? So I get into these weird situations. Every time I try and interact with anyone, it always goes downhill rapidly. I don't know if it's me, but I just seem to have this kind of knack for getting myself into ridiculous situations that at the end of it, I always think, oh, I wish I hadn't bothered with that. Hence the fact that I just don't get involved in anything anymore if I can possibly avoid it, because everything that I've done has ended up being a big regret afterwards. Oh, I can talk about one of those. Remember the Gadget Show? I had the Soundburger. The Soundburger record player. And the Gadget Show, which is a TV show in the UK, wanted to borrow my Soundburger. And they said, oh, if you have a TV watch as well, we'd like to borrow one of those, which I do have, which it doesn't work. Although you can get it to display the time if you kind of squeeze it a little bit and stuff. So I packed everything up, made this big effort, sent it off to them. And then it was on the other week, and it was like they were featuring early 80s stuff. And they just took the mick out of them, really, which was a bit of a shame. So I'd spent all this time sending them over. They were pretending that the record player didn't sound very good, and they kind of overlaid the audio with some. I was going to show you a clip, but it's probably copyright, so I'm not going to bother. They overlaid the audio with like a record that was going, you know. I go, oh, it's rubbish and that. So I know it's TV, and which is why I don't get involved in TV. But that all happened because there was a chap I know who said, "Oh, this guy's got a Soundburger," and it was after he'd got in touch with me and said, "Oh, do you want to lend one to the Gadget Show? They've been in touch with me, and I haven't got one." I wrote back and said, no, I'm not interested in getting involved in anything like that. He says, no. And then he, on his own volition, got back to them and said, oh, you know, this guy's got one, here's his details. Then they got in touch with me, so I kind of felt obligated. So I ended up lending them these things. I got them back, they're not broken. But yeah, they just took the mick out of them. It was on the show, and I helped them out. There's no mention of my YouTube channel anywhere on their programme, their website or anything, no links, no information. It's just an item on a programme that they took the mick out of. So what did I get out of that? Well, I had to go parceling stuff up and messing about and worrying if it was going to get broken and all that. And I had to spend I'd say an afternoon in the loft finding that TV watch. And then, yeah, anyway, I'm moaning. So, let me pause. I'm going to have a drink of lemonade. And we'll come back because there's still a few things to cover here. Returning back to the splitting the video in two thing. Oh, by the way, I've got to mention, I've had a fan on all this time. It's a hot day in here, so if you can hear some sort of background noise, that's what it was, or is. Yeah, now getting back to the idea of splitting that video in two, it's just an experiment. I want to see what happens. Because you can't stand still, or sit still, on my creaky chair. Because, like, I've been doing this now for over a decade. And to expect it to remain the same in over that decade would be naive, to say the least. For example, when I started, hardly anyone watched YouTube on a mobile phone. And now I'd say that's probably where almost all the views come from, vast majority of them. You know, people watch it on TV and stuff as well, and on their computers. But really, I mean, there weren't many people sitting watching YouTube on their mobile phones. So a lot of video has sort of changed into this. Short forms really become quite a thing, hasn't it? With like TikTok and stuff. Now, again, I'm not in any of these social things. I don't do Facebook. I don't do Twitter. I don't do TikTok, Instagram. You think of it, I don't do it. I just put YouTube videos out. I don't even have a website anymore because it didn't seem to benefit me at all. But it just seemed to take time, and there was no positive that came off it. But yeah, things get shorter, don't they? People's attention spans shrink. If I watch an old TV show now from the 70s, say, you'll be watching it, and quite often you'll think, oh, this is dragging. Nothing's happening. Everyone's just talking and wandering around, and they'll show like a car driving up a drive to an office for like 2 minutes and stuff. You know, nowadays they wouldn't do that. Things have to move a little bit quicker. People's attention spans change. It's hard to watch some of this old stuff sometimes, and it seems to be accelerated in the contraction is accelerated. There's probably a term for that. Now I'm not saying that's a good thing, but if I don't change to kind of try and fit along with this people who want instant gratification thing, once all the audience becomes that, what's left? Now, again, got to mention that everything I do is an experiment. It's not a sea change. I've done things in the past. Say I split a video in half. People go, "Oh, I hate it now that you're always splitting videos in half." It'd be like, I've done it once. The other day I put that video out about the tape recorder from Philips, tape player I should say, from Philips. And the comments, "Is this all you're doing now, reviewing rubbish things?" I say 2 weeks earlier I'd got that £2,500 Technics thing. Nearly killed me making that video. So then I put out an easy video for myself, stick a cheese sandwich at the start. "Is this all you're doing now?" It's almost like people don't understand that, like, I've been there 11 years or more on YouTube. So what I did this week is not like negating what I've done in the past, and is not directing what I'm doing in the future. Everything's a bit of a, let's put this out, see what this does. Oh, people didn't like it. Okay, probably won't do one of those again. Next time I might. It's like the dash cams, for example. I did dash cams for years. I did action cams for years. Nobody cares about those anymore. The reason I did the action cam videos was because they were cheap to buy and I was still working. And what I could do, I could get one and put it in my pocket, shoot video at lunchtime, go back in the office, maybe shoot video like throughout a week. I'd shoot enough video that I could then edit together at the weekend and make a review of this thing to a certain degree. And it got me out at lunchtime, and I'd sort of wander around Manchester and stuff. But nobody was interested in those little action cams anymore. You just got to look at how GoPro are doing financially to see that nobody cares about that kind of stuff anymore. Things change, stuff moves on. So I wasn't like an action cam review channel. I wasn't a dash cam review channel. I was always whatever is interesting to me at that particular moment. Don't take this splitting a video in half thing as, is this what you're going to do all the time? No, but that video warranted it, because one half is listening to announcements, the other half is talking about tech. You could put them both together. It would be a worse video if I did, because people wouldn't want to watch all the tech to the announcements, so they might skip to the announcements and watch that bit onwards, which means the view percentage would be like 30% or 20% of the video is the average, that kind of thing, which would mean then in YouTube stats it would think, well, this is a bad video, people are only watching 20% of it, that's crap, Whereas now, if I've got two videos, I've got one that's just the announcements, you might get 60% or something, maybe 50% watch time on that one, and then the tech one, well, people should only jump into that if they're interested, so again that might get like 30-40% view count, but put them together I'm on an average of 20 probably, something like that. So that's why I wanted to try that out. Right, I think I've dug that one into the ground. So let's. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not everything is a pattern. People see patterns in things. Oh, you're just doing this now. No, I'm just doing this today. I don't know what I'm doing next week. Oh yeah, region stats. So I was mentioning that I get these the views are like 200,000 and things like that. And I'm thinking, well. I wonder how it would be if I was in the US, and I was thinking of asking other people I know that have similar kind of channels, but I'm sure there are some people watching this that I mean I know David and Clint might be watching this, I don't know, 8-bit guy in LGR. So I just wanted to mention a stat. I've got it here somewhere. Where is it now? My geography stat. Let me just put this on the screen in a minute. I'll bring you in on this one. So there, right. So this, you can see start off at the top right, the date, the last 365 days, right? So this is where people come from who are watching the channel. Now it's sorted by views, which might not be necessarily the best way to sort it, but view count. So I'll move a little cursor on the screen here. So you could sort it by average view duration or watch time, whatever. But we'll just go with views, because views seems to be the thing that YouTube is most excited about talking about. So 32.1% of views come from the US. Now, I was thinking if I was... Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll bring myself in on that picture-in-picture now. There we go. Is that working? Kind of in the wrong place. Right, so if I was in the US, if I was an American person talking with an American accent, I'm wondering, would that be a lot higher? I think it probably would. I get the feeling from reading comments, feedback and things, that there are a lot of people in the US that will not watch a video if there's an English guy presenting it. I know there are a lot of people that will, and there'll be people that come say, "Oh, I'm American. I watch." Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I'm talking about the people that aren't watching. The ones that aren't watching, I think being British, English, whatever it is, United Kingdomish, is a negative for success in a way on YouTube, because most of the people watching YouTube are based in the US, and a good proportion of the people in the US I don't think want to watch an English bloke because they think they're dicks or something, which is fine, but you know that's the problem, isn't it? So yeah, because you can see here, United Kingdom 12%. So I bet if say I was in the US, I'd be interested to know what would be my US stats and what would be my UK one, because generally I think people in the UK don't really care too much about if someone's from the US. They just watch it because most of the television that we watch is from the US, or a good proportion of it. So I'm just intrigued at the top here, for people who have a channel in the US, what are your top two numbers like there? Interesting to find out. Right, now just returning briefly to that airplane announcement machine background music thing. There's a bit in that video I just wanted to mention. That video was actually a bit of a nightmare to make in some parts of it, fun in others. But I just wanted to play you this little section here, so let me bring you in on this. I got the announcement tape and I threaded it into an 8-track card. Now I've got to say that is easier said than done, but once I got it done, well, it sounds like this. Yeah, so that clip, it's about 11 seconds in length, but it actually covers a period of time of probably a day and a half. I had a real problem. Putting the tape out of the cartridge into an 8-track cut, to tape out of the airplane cartridge into an 8-track, it went very wrong. I played it in the machine, it all got chewed up and jammed inside the cartridge. It went horribly wrong, and the whole thing just, and I opened it up and I had to take it out, and then it all kind of came out as just a mess, a bit like this. In fact, this is another attempt. This is cartridge 4, I think. Now I could try and sort that out. I don't know if it's worth bothering, but the trouble was cartridge 1, the one with the English language on it, was far, far longer than that. 5 times that length. And it was just a mess like that. And I thought, what am I going to do now? Because I'd bought this thing, I'd had it imported. It came from Israel. It got lost in the post for a month. I had to deal all sorts of messing about to try and get hold of it from Parcel Force. And so then I finally get the thing. I finally get the tape, I put it in the thing, and that all happens. And I thought, well, the video is about the tape. Without the tape, there is no video. I started trying to get the tape and spool it onto a reel very carefully, and I was having a nightmare. Fortunately, the missus came home and she says, what's going on? And I was almost crying on the floor. Honestly, I got to that stage where I was in a state of despair with this thing. And she says, don't worry, I'll sort it out. And apparently she'd had a childhood of untangling wool, that people have been using for knitting. We're getting on in years. So this was her expertise, untangling knitting, apparently. So over the course of like about 3 hours in the evening, we managed to get this tape back onto a reel. What I had to do, I had to snip it at every foil bit in the middle to at least get it a bit easier, so it was in 4 separate pieces, but still, yeah, about 3 hours in the evening, 2 people untangling this thing, and then of course I had to splice it all back together and put it into another 8-track cartridge and hope it didn't jam. And initially it sounded like really terrible inside, and then eventually after playing a few times it all sorted itself out. But yeah, that That 11 seconds there took two people like 2 days to do. But you can't go on about stuff like that in a video because no one's interested. You can't. I mean, I can talk to you about it because you know what you're in for with one of these. It's just a long ramble. All I wanted to do was play the audio, and I spent days getting it so I could play the audio, and I played the audio. I've achieved. So it's like a massive relief to me at the end of it. Like, phew, I actually got the video finished, and it kind of looks like nothing went wrong. But behind the scenes, I was pulling what little remains of my hair out. And I remember what it was I wanted to say. Yes, this is the thing I wanted to say at the end. Patreon have added in an ability to pay in your own currency. I don't know if you can pay in all of them. There's a lot of currencies out there, isn't there? But I don't think it'd work out that anyone's saving any money. But don't quote me on that. Maybe it would. So, yeah, I'd say investigate it. There might be something there if you're interested in that. If not, just carry on as you were. Don't worry about it. But anyway, that really is it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.